Hello everyone, this is ChessFalcon. Today we'll be talking about some attacking chess. We'll be going over some of my best attacking games, and credits to have for helping me make this study that features my best, with some of my best attacking games. And of course, we shall start off with my game against Hef. So I'm white, he is black. This is from a tournament, an arena, I think a shield tournament for Rapid, I believe. And I start out with, I'm white, I start out with e4, d6, d4, knight f6, attacking my e4 pawn, so I go bishop d3, knight d7. I play f3 here. The idea is to bolster e4 and follow with knight to here, and in the game I decided to go with g4 next. It's not a great move, but I found when I fan kiddo this bishop, with g6 and bishop to g7, I found that it's hard when you cannot put any piece here on g4, for example. It's hard to play when e4 is rock solid and you make d4 really strong too. So anyways, he continued with c5, which is a great move, immediately attacking my weak pawn on c5, on d4. So I played knight to e2, protecting it and preparing to castle. He played a6. Preparing to play b5 probably, and then I decided here to play g4 to go for an immediate attack with g5 thoughts in the air. Hef follows up with b6 instead of playing b5. He decides to go b6. He's not scared of g5 immediately because of knight to h5. I decided to go g5 immediately, of course, before he plays h6 since it prevents it. So he plays knight to h5, and then I continue with c4, preventing any pawn push to b5, and also preparing d5 later on, or maybe d5. So he plays queen c7. Already his position is not great, I would say. I played d5 because his idea with queen to c7 is to take here, then possibly put a knight on the empty square. So I played d5. He plays g6. Trying to get his bishop on this long diagonal before I can. So I play f4, of course. f4, the idea is it bolsters this pawn and prevents any piece from coming to e5, because the pawn now protects that square. He follows up with bishop g7. I play knight bc3 it's just bolstering my center and continuing developing. If I castle here, I'm not sure I like that because of bishop d4 check, and then his pieces after knight takes c takes d4, his knight's coming to c5 again, and then he has a decent position. Anyways, I play rook b. He plays rook b8. Then I play bishop e3. Then he plays e5. Okay, so here's a critical position, at least according to Hef. It is continuing to the next chapter, but here, what would you play as white? You have a couple options here. Black is threatening takes here, so you could take on e5. Bishop takes e5 or knight takes e5 is decent for black. You also have another option. You have f5, but which would you prefer? You have d takes e5. As a candidate move, you have pushing the pawn to f5. You also have castling here, believe it or not. You also have castling, so I encourage you to take a moment and figure out which candidate move. There are other moves here, of course, but I encourage you to pause the video and figure out which move you would play here, and we will continue this in the next chapter. And then I'm opening up the chapter right now, and the move here is f5. f5. The idea is that it's cracking open the king side. If pawn takes e5, then this knight here is incredibly weak. Even though there's no direct way to attack it at the moment, it's incredibly weak because it has no square to go to. So after f5, I took back with the pawn. Then he plays this tricky move, e4. The idea here with e4 is to get some space for his pieces. If I take back with a knight like I did, then he takes here. And then after rook b1, he drops the bishop back to e5. If I stick with the bishop, though, then he has, I believe he just takes on my knight takes, and then he plays Well, already his position is already pretty bad because of these connected pass pawns here. Not pass pawns. These connected pawns here are very strong. So but instead of taking with the bishop, I didn't like that for a couple reasons. Taking with the bishop because I want the knight to come to here sometime in the future, and if the bishop takes on b2, then after rook b1 I gain tempo for development. So I decided to take back with the knight. He decided to take on b2, rook b1, bishop e5. Then I castled here. The idea of castling is probably it's decent in this position, but the reason why I have time for this move is because what is black doing here? He literally has almost nothing here. So I have time to get castle and get my rook to bolster the f file. He plays knight f8. The idea of knight f8 is to prepare against any g6 ideas that I might have. Oops. Is to prepare against any g6 ideas I might have. So I cannot do g6 here. And also it's to attack, try and maybe attack this pawn on f5, or get the bishop to g4 if I ever move that pawn. So I put my king on h1. I'm trying to get my bishop off of this my king off of this diagonal because it may open up in the future. And also I didn't like the rook pinning the pawn with rook g8 next. So I played king h1. He plays his knight to g7, which is a decent move. It's attacking f6. f5. So here I have two options. I can drop my knight back and further protect this pawn, or I can advance for the attack with f4. But then he has knight to f5. I also have one other option, which is knight to f6 check. As you can probably tell, I played knight f6 check. The idea is it opens up the G file, which is very important later on. He has to take, bishop takes, I take back, then he played knight to h5, trying to attack this weak pawn here. His idea is follow up with knight to d7 probably, or queen to d8, and trying to take this pawn because this pawn is really annoying. I'll play bishop g5 to protect the pawn. It's also that it comes with the idea also of knight f4. If he plays something like knight to d7 now, knight f4, and then I have this really nice rook check here next. So he does play knight d7. I play knight to f4 with the idea of checking here next. He took back with the h knight, which is good. But then I checked him in with rook e8 check. Then he played king f8. Then there's actually, after king f8, there's actually a mate in 4. Let's look at his other option. King to b8, d8. Then I simply just play knight to h5. There's no way to further protect this knight. And then I'm coming up with, after knight takes, my threat is bishop takes. Then the king moves to d7. Then I check him with rook to e7 check and win his queen. So there's no threat against. There's no defense against that. That's why he went to f8. But there's actually a mate here. A 4-move mate here. Pause the video, don't look at any of this, and see if you can find it. So, if you couldn't tell, if you looked at the rest of the moves, the game finished with bishop h6 check, king g8, and now I encourage you, if you haven't yet, pause the video and find the next move. Which is, if you pause the video, queen g4 check. It's a really nice move. The king has nowhere to go. And my idea with queen g4 check is it's a classic deflection. I want to get my rook to the e8 square, but I can't at the moment because the knight covers it. And if I can get my rook to the e8 square, then I checkmate with rook takes f8 checkmate. So queen g4 check. His king cannot move, so he has to take back. Knight takes g4. Now checkmate him. Rook e8 check. Knight f8. Rook takes f8, and that's game. So how exactly did I get to this position that was completely overwhelming when I was able to checkmate him? Well, if we go back, the way he played in the opening was it allowed me to gain a lot of space, I would say, is the reason why. I had better pieces, more active pieces, and I continuously took control of squares his pieces could go to. For example, this e5 square when I played f4. Then rook b8. He has barely any options. I would think that e5 might be an option here, but I'm not sure. I think I just fought with f5 and marched the pawn up. Anyways, he played rook b8, and anyways, his position was already pretty bad, straight out of the opening. And I'm not saying that my opening was great either. F3 is not great, great move in itself. Like, I could have played better. G4 was an interesting idea I had, and I have to find out how to understand how to deal with it. After knight h5, his knight is already bad. He should have gone to the square here and developed it there later on. But anyways, the reason why I was able to attack in this game was just because his pieces were not as well placed as mine, and barely had any squares to move. That is. And I was able to open up the position because of that. So let's go on to the next game. This is also against a strong player. His name is Michael2002. We have played a lot of games. He actually almost adopted me in classical. He won 9 straight classical games, and then I played as black in the Sicilian in the last classical game, and I actually won that game and ended his winning streak against me. Anyways, here I am black, and he plays. He's white. This is a 15-minute game. He has he's rated 2,218 at the time. I was rated one of my lowest, 1917. Then he plays e4. I play e5. Knight f3. Then I played the Latvian gambit just to change things up a bit, and also because I used to be really fond of this very dubious gambit. It's a bad gambit. I recommend you do not play it. Anyways, knight takes e5. Knight f6. That's what I always play. If he takes a pawn, then I have d4. d5, d4, bishop d6, d6, and it's already the position. He has a strong knight, but my pieces are coming out pretty fast. He plays bishop c4. The other options here is bishop c4 like he played, or just to drop the knight back, which is actually pretty bad, or knight to c3, which is also pretty bad. So bishop c4 is the best move here. I'll play d5. My idea with d5 is after pawn takes, I play bishop d6, preventing the pawn from marching up, and then then castle, and it actually is decent. It's actually decent. I've actually had one opponent smash me with bishop takes d5, and that move I found really hard. The idea is after knight takes d5, he has queen to h5 check, and after g6 he just simply takes on g6. And if I drop my knight back, he plays something like queen to queen to h4. Yes, queen to h4. It's very complicated. Anyways, after e takes d5, I played bishop d6. He played d4, bolstering a strong knight on e5. I castled. He castled. I put my king on h8 because I want to play c6 here. But if I play c6 immediately, then he simply takes, and that's check against my king. And this knight is protecting this c6 square. Yeah. Anyways, king h8, knight c3, then I play c6. Like I said, the idea is to open up the position a bit, because I also want to get rid of this annoying d5 pawn. He probably should have left the pawn there and continued developing. Maybe bishop f4 or f4. It would have been better, but he took on c6. I took back with the knight. Taking back with the pawn isn't good, just because that he can open up with d5 next, and that's really strong for him. So I took back with the knight. He decided to take back my knight, which gives up the a strong e5 knight. I was thinking he should have played f4 instead of knight takes. I gladly took back. He played h3 here, preventing any piece from coming to g4. But as you shall see, that move is very weakening. So I play h6 here because I do not want him to pin my knight with bishop g5. He played bishop e3. Which actually allows me to gain the time. I play f4. The pawn is protected by my bishop. He has to drop back to c1 or d2. He chose c1. I play after that I play bishop f5, and already my position is preferable, I would say. Even though I'm down, let's see, I'm down 2 pawns. But my pieces are a lot more active. I control this square. I control this square's knight can only go here and further attack that pawn. And his bishop is horrible, so I much prefer my position. He plays rook e1. Then I play queen c7. My idea with queen c7 is to play f3 next. And then this, I asked white, what'd you play here? He played, you should have seen the next chapter, but, remember, my idea is f4 followed by a check on h2, and then my pieces start becoming a bit more active. Let's see what he plays in the next chapter. He plays f3. It's severely weakening the squares around his king, and also, the square right here, and notable, is very weak. There's nothing protecting it. I can easily get a piece here. Instead, it would have been preferable, in my opinion, to just play something like queen f3, maybe. The idea of queen f3 is, of course, to prevent the f pawn from pushing, and also threatens the like. It doesn't really threaten anything actually, but it stops f3 pawn push, and it puts more protection for these squares. You can't even attack with bishop g4 because white just takes, and it's pretty bad. White's idea is to follow, of course, with knight e2, and further attacking that weak pawn. It's true, I can play knight to d5 or knight to h5. Well, I can't play knight to h5, but it's much stronger than what he played in the game. f3. And then, like I said, the g3 square is very weak. So all the dark squares around this king are very weak. So I play knight to h5 to the idea being to put my knight on e3. G3. He plays knight to e4, which wasn't great. His idea is to protect this square right here with his knight. But now knight to e4 allows me an exchange. He should have gone to. He actually should have gone to d2, e2, because then and now I cannot take. I cannot take on e2. I can't take his knight and exchange it. I have to settle with rook to d8, rook a e8. I mean, pinning or threatening to take next and put my strong knight on g3. So after knight e4, I took, removing the defender of g3. He took back with the pawn, which surprised me. I'm guessing he didn't like the rook takes, just because the knight to g3 immediately wins the tempo. But taking with the pawn allowed me to play f3 here. The idea being to check with the knight. And then here is where he should have played. In my opinion, I think he should have just shifted his king maybe, or played rook to here. Not sure what he should have done. Already, his position is pretty bad. So he took with the pawn. If he had played e5 here, then simply I have f2 check. And forking those two pieces. The idea of e5 is, of course, to prevent the bishop h5, but I have this check that forks the two pieces. If he puts his king on h2, then I promote. Queen takes, and then I just play something like I think I just pinned the I pinned the pawn to the queen. And that's simply winning. That's why e5 does not work. So he takes back with the pawn. Then I play bishop g2, h2. Then he plays king to g2, which actually was pretty bad. He should have gone like in the line. King h1 was better. King h1, and then I fought with queen g3, rook g1 to because given the up material to try and stop my attack. I just take on h3, and then check on g3 next. So king g1, queen g3. The idea is to attack this pawn right here, and then play bishop there and then mate here with that classic mating pattern. So he has to play, instead of rook g1 like Cap suggested, he should have played bishop. The idea is he could play. Oops. Oh wait, king h1. Oops. What did I do here? Oh, make mainline. Okay. Instead of king h1, queen g3, he has bishop to f there. protecting this pawn, but then I have this mate. He can't do this, I mean, because he has this mate here. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have this mate here. So king g2, and I was thinking if he had gone to f1, I simply just play queen 2 here, and then take here with a huge attack. So we played king g2. I played queen g3 check, king h1, and can you find the next move? It's a very nice move. Not sure if you can find it. That move is bishop g1. Boom. So it looks like free piece, isn't it? Rook takes g1, but then I have queen takes h3, checkmate. The king cannot escape because the rook is blocking. The king cannot go to g2 because the queen is attacking g2, and it's in check. There's no way to block. So bishop g1 is a very nice move, just because you cannot take, because then you get checkmated. And the idea is to follow up with queen to h2 checkmate. The only defense of this is either rook to here, or queen to here. Oh wait, no, not queen to there. Or queen to here. But then I fought with the bishop to f2, threatening queen takes h3 checkmate. Again, bishop f1 that would not work, protecting h3 just because of queen g1 is to mate. So here Michael resigned, but what made this nice attack possible? I would say that what made this attack possible was that he weakened his dark squares around his king, and I was able to infiltrate using those dark squares. So a tip is not to weaken the squares around your king, as you can end up like Michael here did. So let's go on to the next game. This is against a very strong player named Wentz. He is named at Discord Wentz. He is 2,114 at the time of this game. I was 1943. I take the white pieces, and I play e4. He plays c6. I play d4. He's playing the ChessFalcon. I have the system knight f3, knight c3. Where I have the system is where I play f3, followed with knight takes f3. And I like this position. There's a lot of tactical ideas here. Anyways, I decided in this game to change things up with knight takes c4. Plays the classical line, knight bishop f5, knight bishop g3, bishop g6. I play knight f3, knight d7. He's just developing his pieces to solve the squares. I play bishop c4, attack, threatening any maybe knight e5 or knight g5 later on. There's a bishop ever moves. He plays knight gf6, knight castle. He plays e6. I play queen e2 with threat of later on of maybe take on the e6. He plays bishop d6, and then I play rook e1 because I'm not scared of bishop takes because I take back with the pawn, and then that's already pretty good for me. His bishop is probably better. Is definitely better than this knight is. Here he played queen c7. Then he should have just castled. The theme of this is do not leave the king in the center for too long. He should have just castled here. And then he's in a rock solid position. I'm not sure I could execute a strong attack against him. He should have just castled. Instead he played queen c7. I'm not sure what the point of this move is. But he played queen c7. I played knight g5. The idea being knight takes. And then probably bishop takes, and then he cannot castle. They get 2 pawns for defeat with a huge attack. He played knight d5. So that's actually I don't like that move, just because I get a huge attack. Let's take a moment to pause the video and figure out what you would play here as white. And if you pause the video, I played knight takes e6. If f takes e6, then I take back with queen takes e6 check. Then king d8. If he had gone to f8 instead, that's a lot better than what happened in the game. I think he's better here. I think I just play bishop g5, followed by threat of taking here, or maybe just bishop takes first, takes, and then bishop g5. But king f8 is actually a lot better. My threat to bishop g5 is followed with knight to f5. And further attack the square right here, but still, he can just play something like rook to here, for example. Then already my position is not great. Actually, I think my queen is already pretty bad here. Then queen g3, rook takes, rook takes rook. Then he just plays something like maybe no, that doesn't work. This is probably a bit better than what happened in the game, but I think I'm still winning here. Anyways, he played king d8. I enthusiastically played bishop g5 check, thinking after knight to f6, bishop takes c5, c takes c5, bishop takes f6, that would win this rook here. But I do not. Here, instead of bishop takes f6 check, I actually had knight f5, threatening this bishop here. Instead of take back, and then I take back, and then already this is like a variation of the game. This actually transposes into the game, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, he didn't have bishop takes h2 check. This because of king h1, and then I'm threatening knight takes g7 here. And then that's pretty strong. Rook g8, the knight's pinned, so I could just take. So he has to go to rook f8 when I just simply take here. And I think I just take here next. Yeah, I take there next. And then he's up a piece. No, actually, it's not good. Anyways, it's probably not knight takes g7. But anyways, it's probably g3. I don't know. But anyways, let's go back to the game. That was an interesting try from black to do it. Anyways, they played bishop takes f6 check instead of knight f5. G takes f5. Like I said, I was thinking I'd win the rook after queen takes f6 check. But then he plays king d7. And here, I do not see anything good, better than queen e6 check. But he should have just, and then here he played king c6 check, king c6. Once it's playing for one, he knows it's higher rated. He thinks that he can consolidate. He could have gone for a draw with king d8 when I have to repeat moves. Then it's a basic draw after that. King d8, queen e6 check, and back to d8, queen f6 check. It's a draw by perpetual. But he played king c6. I enthusiastically played the pawn to c6. The threat, of course, is against d5, so he has to take. He has to take. Why is this not letting me? Okay, d takes c4. I take back on c4. He plays king to b6 instead of king back, which would have allowed him to get that draw we talked about earlier. I check on b3. He goes to a6. My idea with b3 check is fought with a4, threatening to checkmate here. So he has like one good defense against this. Let's see. Well, I mean, I guess he has two, but no, he has one good defense against this. Let's see if we can find it. If you pause the video and looked, bishop e8 protects the square, but I had to sack rook takes e8 and then checkmates on b5, so that does not work. If you play queen to a5, protecting the square, I just play rook to d6 and pin the bishop. He plays rook to he plays rook to d8 then I just play something like I believe I just play queen to c4 check. And then follow up with b4 when the queen looks very shaky, and I'm threatening a5 next. But the move here is b6. When after the check here, he goes to c5 and I attack his queen with rook to ac1, and then here he actually resigned. He has queen d8 check. Oh, queen d8, not check. He has queen d8 check, and then it's hard for me to make progress just because this bishop covers both these squares. But I'm down a piece here. Queen d8 check. Oh, queen d8. Why do I keep saying check? It consolidates. I cannot even play knight to here, threatening to trade off the bishop, because he just takes, and that's pretty good for him. So here he resigned. But this is an example of attacking the centralized king. And the king here is very weak. He did not castle. I was able to attack it. And he resigned. I actually won this game when I probably shouldn't have. So, yeah. I can't even do, in this position after queen d8, queen d5 check, he just goes to b8. And then, it's iffy. Yeah. Anyways, that was an example of attacking the castled king. Uncastled king, I mean. So, Well, how that attack possible was, of course, the centralized king. He should have castled early on. And he lost this game as a result, even though, like I said, he probably should have been able to draw, at least. Maybe a win if he kept playing. So our next game is against this guy named Old Pal Happy. Interesting username. Anyways, I'm black. I play, again, the Latvian. F5, knight 6, e5. He decides to take there. Then we have that setup we talked about earlier. But I'm able to snatch this F5 pawn. He plays knight c3. Bishop d3 is a lot better, trying to trade off the strong bishop. So I play c6, bolstering this pawn. His idea is to sometime take there. Then maybe play queen to here check after knight takes, or something like that. I just bolster bishop e2. I play bishop to e7 because I don't want the knight to be pinned. If I go to d6, that's also pretty good. He castles, I castle. Bishop f4. I play knight bd7, threatening to exchange and get a better. My pieces are a lot more active than his. That's why I want to exchange right now. He played rook e1. I took on e5. He took back with the bishop. I played knight e4. I'm just trying to get my pieces to very nice squares. He should have taken. Instead, he played bishop g4. Bishop g4. He wants me to play bishop takes g4, queen takes g4. Means he's attacking the square, and also he's threatening knight takes, and then takes back. But I have a tactic here. Can you find it? Pause the video and let's see if you can find the tactic. If you found a tactic, congrats. The tactic is knight takes f2. Knight takes f2. The idea is after king takes f2, I play bishop takes g4 check, and then it's check because the king is attacked by the rook. And this just wins the queen and gets the material back. There's nothing white can do here to win probably, and I'd have to be really like bad or like just tired or something to lose this position. So knight takes f2 wins his bishop here, because there are two attackers on it. His queen is attacked, so he cannot move it away unless he wants to lose his queen. So he has to play queen to e2, when I simply just take on g4. And then he decides to tries to be a bit tricky. Can you find a move he played? He played bishop takes g7. The idea is after king takes g7, he takes here. He takes on why can't I move this piece? He takes here. And in his position, he's down a piece. Those pieces are pretty active. Not really, but it's definitely better than what happened in the game. After bishop takes g7, I just simply play rook e8. And ignoring the bishop and protecting my own bishop, he drops it back to e5. Then I have this nice tactic, bishop c5. The idea being, the pawn is now pinned to the king. Because of this bishop, I mean, not the pawn. And if he takes, I simply just take. Rook takes e5. It's protected by two pieces. If he wants to lose material, he just takes. So he cannot do that. So bishop c5. He plays queen f3. Then I just simply take rook. Oops. Rook takes e5. Rook takes e5. And then here, he was probably hoping for knight takes e5 when he takes on f5. And then he has he's threatening my knight, and then once my knight moves, he plays something like queen g4. Instead, I went for the kill with bishop queen to h4. I mean, yeah. Wait, no. Wait, what did I play here? Oh yeah, I took on g4 check. I mean, sorry. That's next move. So bishop takes g4 check. He goes to h1. I go to h4, threatening mate here. I ignore the rook. He pushes h3, which just allows knight f2 check, king g1, knight takes h3 double check, king there, and then here's I after bishop g4. I have too many threats. I'm threatening his rook. I'm threatening his queen. I'm threatening checkmate here. If the queen moves like something like here, I just checkmate like I said. So yeah, it has to stay on this this file. But where do you go? You can't. You have to go to e2. Or when I just take, I mean, actually. Oops, I didn't mean to play that. That's a bad move. Wherever you go, I just win the game. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Where am I? Oh yeah. Use those open lines chapter. So after Wait, what? Knight e2? Where is that? Oh yeah, this is supposed to be in the main line. Sorry, I'm pretty bad at studies, but after bishop g4, he resigned. So what made this attack possible was that he put out his pieces, his bishop actually was on a very weak square, it only had one protector. I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just saying that it was easily attacked. If I could find a way, and I did, if I find a way to attack it, then with gain of time, find another piece to attack with gain of time, then I just win the piece. Then after that, his positions just fell apart. As their pieces started swarming, and my pieces were very active. His pieces, with the pawn on c6, bolstering d5, he cannot take there. He cannot even go to b5, he cannot go to e4. His pieces were pretty bad out of the opening. So again, we have that inactive pieces thing. So on to the next game, and this was against 2182, when I absolutely destroyed him. I was white, e4, d5, c5. I played a modern gamut, d4, c takes c4, c3, d takes c3, knight takes c3, d6, bishop c4, e6, knight f3, a6, and here I played a4, which is a habit I have. I don't want b5, but it's actually decent after position after b5. So queen c7, queen e2, knight f6, castles, bishop e7, e5. The idea is attacks his pawn. So after d takes e5, I take back with knight takes e5, then he plays knight b d7, which actually wasn't great. Can you find a move here to get an overwhelming attack as white? Can you find a move here? I encourage you to pause the video and find it. The idea is knight takes f7. Boom. Queen takes e6 is up in the air. If the king ignores it, like say castles, then I just take on e6 with the bishop instead of the queen. I think. Wait, no, that's actually bad. That's actually wrong. Take back with the queen. Yes. And then my threat is after this. My threat is knight to h6 check, king to h8, queen no, because then knight takes. Okay, anyways, it's very bad for black. So after king takes f7, queen takes e6 check, plays king e8. I can check on f7, but then his king goes to d8, and I don't have a good way to attack. So instead I play rook e8 first, preparing queen f7. He has to move a piece to protect this bishop because I'm threatening checkmate. He can't go knight g8, but then I just play queen here, and then I believe I have bishop g5 next. Yes, I have bishop g5 next. If the bishop moves, takes, then I just simply checkmate him. So he plays knight f8, allowing the queen to protect. Instead of knight f8, he should have played knight c5, I believe. Yeah, knight c5 was a bit more active, maybe? Because then, yeah, I think so. Anyways, he played knight f8 instead. I played queen f7 check, king d8, then I played bishop f4. And then in here, he resigned. This move is a variation, actually. He resigned after bishop to f4. Why did he resign? Simply because after queen d7, as you probably saw, I just pinned the queen. And pin and win, as I like to say. But, as you saw, bishop d6 is his defense. My idea here was simply just to take the free piece. Queen takes, bishop takes, and then this is pretty bad for black. Anyways, here he resigned. So again, we have this centralized king thing, where the king was in the center, and I sacrificed the material to open up the king for an attack. He can't even play something like bishop d6 just because I take, for example. Bishop e6, I mean. He's trying to attack my own queen. His queen's attacked here, cannot do anything, and it's pretty bad. He uses at least another piece here. Anyways, this next game I'm very proud of. It is against Hades532. He is 2071 rated at the time of this game. This is classical. I'm white. I play e4, e5. He plays e5. I play knight f3, knight c6. I play d4. I'm going for the Scotch gambit. Then I play c3. This is an interesting line. I don't like it as much anymore because the knight takes e4. But instead he played d takes c3. I take on back at c3. He plays h6. He doesn't want my pieces coming to g5 at all. I castle here. He plays d6. I play h3 because I don't want his bishop coming to g4 to pin my knight. He plays bishop e6. If I take, he plays f takes e6, and then his position is pretty solid. I don't want that. I want to use his bishop later on, so I play bishop d3. Bishop d3. He has the option of playing knight to b4, attacking my bishop again, because remember, I just moved it out of the way. I'm telling him, in essence, that I don't want to exchange my bishop. So he could play knight b4, but after bishop b1, his knight's a bit overextended. Or I could even play a queen to a4 check, and the knight has to retreat back. So that's not good. So bishop e7, queen e2. The idea is rook to d1. He castles rook d1. He sees my threat of e5. That threat is e5 takes, and then bishop h7 check, winning the queen. So he plays knight d7, preventing that. I drop my bishop back to b1, so my rook feels. So he feels my rook's presence on that file. But allowing him to play knight d e5. So after knight d e5, I take. He takes. I play f4 because that knight is extremely strong here. He has the option of playing bishop c4 though, which I didn't like during the game. The idea being queen moves, then he just moves the knight back, but his bishop is already pretty strong there. He instead played knight c6. I played e5, and now that pin is felt. Because he cannot take, because then I take his queen. So he plays queen c8. I play queen h5. I'm not scared of him taking, because now the pawn is protected. So he took, I took. He played rook d8, trying to exchange rooks and relieve some of the pressure. But no, I'm not allowing that. I play rook f1. He plays bishop c5 check, which I had of course seen. And I played king h1. He played bishop c4, attacking my rook, and that's actually a really strong move. If I play rook to here, he attacks it one more time, and where's my rook going? It has to go up. Probably, wait, no, it has to go here. Then he checks me here. Wait, no, it doesn't. Wait. Anyways, it's a strong move. It's attacking my own rook. And here, I encourage you to pause the video. I'm pretty sure you won't find this move. It's a very nice move. I encourage you to pause the video and figure out what I played here as white. The move I played, if you had paused the video and looked, was rook f6. It's a very nice move. And then it's a very tricky move too. It took me a lot of time to analyze the g takes f6 and the e takes f6. The immediate threat is queen takes h6, followed by mate on g7. If you decide to defend with bishop f8, then I simply just take on h6 with my bishop, and then there's no way to stop queen g5 next, followed by mate on g7 after exchange of bishops. So instead, he plays queen e6, threatening this pawn here, and then I have this really nice move. I wonder if you can find it. The idea is bishop h7 check. Boom. Getting another piece into the attack. After king takes h7, I just checkmate him. Boom. Checkmate. It's really nice. Bishop h7 is really nice. So bishop h7 check. He goes to h8. He cannot go to here because then I play bishop takes or queen takes with gain of time. So he goes to h8. Then I have bishop takes h6 check. I'm threatening checkmate here. It's a very nice checkmate. He has to take. Queen takes f6. Then here I play bishop f5 because I'm trying to do discovered attack with my queen, or bishop g5 is actually a bit better. So I force him to play king g8. Then here I play knight to e4. The queen is very essential to black's defense. Knight e4. The queen has to move somewhere. Where's the queen going? If you go to e5, I just check here. Then king h8, and then I have this really nice mating idea here. That's what happened in the game. But where's the king going at? Queen going after queen e4. If you take here, I check here. Then I believe I play rook to wait, where did I play? Yeah, I just play rook to here. And then the rook cannot be attacked. Or rook to c1 actually. Rook c1. Rook c1 is a bit better. Anyways. He played queen e5, and just check on g5, king h8, and knight f6. It's unpreventable mate now. It blocks. Can you find a mate? So it blocks g7 from being protected. So you have to play rook g8. Can you find the mate now? There is a very nice mate. It's 1, 2, 3 moves. So let's see if you can find it. The mate starts with bishop g7 check. Very nice move. The idea is square vacation. It's after rook takes g7, queen 6 check. It's immediate mate. There's no way to prevent it. After bishop g7 check, you can't. It's unavoidable. So basically, the reason why I was able to attack this game was because of this very nice, beautiful rook f6 move. I'm so proud of. That opened up his king, and my bishops are so strong. I was able to get all my pieces in, but the rook. But the rook, with gain of time. And so the thing here is to play with tempo, I would say. Play with initiative. I was able, like the bishop h7 check move, it was played with initiative. I have the initiative. I'm attacking. He has to respond to my threats, and if I continue playing that way, then my attack should work. Anyways, it was nice doing this with you all. We will commence the rest of the study another day. And I hope you liked my video. I hope you learned a lot. I'm just going over some themes right now. Just going over some themes with you. I'll resume my next video in another time. I hope you have a nice day. And remember, if you want to check out the Chess Academy Discord, the link is in the video. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day.